on to my next 3 cards using the Hunkydory Christmas on the Farm topper set. And I had quite a few scraps left over, so I'm using this slice from one of the edges of the cards to put as a edge insert in my card. Then I'm using one of the backing sheets, which is just this amazing image of the farm in the snow, and I'm using that as my main image on my card. Then I'm using another offcut and one of the sentiments to make a little flag topper. So I'm just cutting the end off that and then making it into a flag shape at the end. And then I decided to use some Distress Oxide, it's Faded Jeans, just to ink around the edge of the image and the edge of my card. And I've stuck that down with double-sided tape. And obviously a little bit of glue just so I have some time to move it around if I need to, so I can get it all nice and square on the card base. And I've added a foam pad to the back of the flag sentiment just to add a little bit of height. And that is card number 5 finished. Card number 6, as you can see, like I said, I've got a lot of scraps left, and what I decided to do was use one of those scraps and take my small hole punch and create some circles or dots. And then I'm using 2 of the very small toppers along with a slice off the edge of one of the backing sheets to create this card. So I'm using up quite a lot of scraps on this one, and I've just made those into tiny little flag toppers. This is the bit that takes the longest really, is just gluing them down and positioning them so they look random rather than organised. And you'll see that the 2 small toppers are actually images from that backing sheet where I've cut the slice off it, so they tone in quite nicely. And I thought the circles reflected the edge of the card shape because that's obviously a scalloped edge, so it keeps the round theme going, or round edge going. Just chopping that down to fit my card so I can get the best part of the image. And I decided to pop those onto foam pads as well. I think because they're on foam pads, that's going to mean that it would have to go as a large letter if you're posting it. So I think the best thing to do is to just bear in mind whether you want to post or hand deliver a card. And obviously if you want to post it, you could just pop those down with some glue or tape. And that's finished. Still more scraps left over. I'm just taking the bottom of that backing sheet that had that beautiful image on, and I'm going to use that as a side piece. And because I don't have any images left, I'm going to use the Nutcracker Kisses stencil. I'm taking the bottom and top edge off the card base because I think it will look better with a straight edge, bearing in mind that I've got that straight piece down the side. And I'm actually going to use the main image on this stencil. I'm just colouring it with some ordinary colouring pencils, and I've just picked out blues because obviously that's the colour of the piece of card that's going to be down the side of the base card. And I'm taking a tiny sliver of silver from one of the scraps just to add that across his hat. And I've just attached that with some glue. Then to add that slice down the side. I did fiddle about with some other bits, but I decided that actually nothing really worked. So this is quite a fun, simple card. So you can see that the silver from his hat tones in with that bit on the edge, which again ties it all in together. So I've finished all my cards from that set. So I had this one from the previous video, using the toppers and a main piece of backing plus some of the scraps. This one I've used the stencil in the background, one of the images and the sentiment. Then this one I've used offcuts from the main image plus a sentiment. And this one is from the backing sheet, and it's literally just using that scene as the main focal point of the card along with a sentiment. And those 4 cards are in the previous video, which I will leave the link for below. And obviously these are the ones that you've just seen me making. I really do love that image, and the fact that you can use it as a main focal point for your card. That's almost a card done. Well, you've seen from that video that all I've done is add some inking and a sentiment. I think this is actually one of my favourites, so I was quite pleased that I thought about using the hole punch so I could use those round toppers. And of course we have the nutcracker. I've used the stencil and that little silver band from the offcuts. In total there are 7 cards made from this one topper set, and that is Christmas on the Farm, and these are the scraps that I had left over, so I can obviously add those to other cards. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Cheerio.